Hey, Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, we're just going to quickly review KDA. Of course, I have made a couple episodes about KDA in the past, and recently last week, where I was mentioning that you should probably consider to take your profit at approximately $1.80-ish zone or wherever we end up. Over there, I had this little box that we were likely to get rejected, and we actually did that trade twice. If we go ahead and take a look at the chart on the 4 hour here, you can see that we actually popped up there, perfectly hit the target, came back exactly where I mentioned, the mid channel, and then we were likely, if we caught support there, to bounce back up to the top of the channel as we break some of these diagonals that we're crossing. So again, I mentioned it was a very heavily resistant area, and we'd probably have to have more than one try to bust through it. And of course, here's our second attempt. We did break it down, and as Bitcoin and the rest of crypto was having a little bit of a pullback, we actually lost that diagonal, and so we rechecked the mid channel. But the good thing here is that we didn't go to the bottom of the chart. We actually held the mid channel twice, making a bit of a double bottom on our way up the on these kind of higher lows that we have here. So we are putting in a pretty interesting uptrend, even if we have a double top and a double bottom. We did end up recapturing that diagonal, and of course that's looking pretty good. It's just a sideways action, but overall, we'll take it. It's pretty good. So what are we looking for here? Since we've basically defeated this boss, we've defeated this boss, and we are holding on to this mid-channel support. What we'd like to do is probably see a pop-up as soon as possible. Let's go ahead and go to the daily and just see how our EMAs look on the daily. Uh, yeah, I mean we're above the 10, so we maintained above the 10. We did break down briefly. That was the threat there that we could curl our EMAs to the downside, but we did hold it bullishly, and so this is still a pretty good setup. We do have that 50 overhead, this blue line right here, which could act as a little bit of resistance. So maybe again we're talking about $1.80. And when this thing curls up, then maybe we're talking about that potential play to $2. So let's see how the 50 EMA reacts on the daily time frame. Looking at the 4 hour, basically it's the same thing, right? It's just a different color coding of EMAs here. So yeah, I mean, the setup is essentially the same. What we don't want to happen is losing this area. We don't want to lose that mid channel. If we do start to lose that mid channel at around $1.60, then you're probably going to want to bail out until this thing bottoms out, because it may be retesting its lows. Okay, so this could be, a fake out. It doesn't look like it's a fake out, but it could be a fake out. And let me turn these EMAs off. It could be a fake out, and then if it just breaks back under here and just gets kind of stuck under this wedge, just to be very careful if it breaks back down here. Now this diagonal is not perfect. That's nothing really to overemphasize, but it does line up with this support right here, with this support right here. Pardon me, this. Well, I guess this is support and resistance. It just depends on which side you're looking at. But this resistance right here, and then of course this resistance right here, which then we broke through. So getting ahead of this line and really sitting on top of it while also defeating this mega line, right, from the basically the top of the chart, it is a signal to the market that they can potentially go long on this thing as it's building in those higher lows. So do I still have faith that this thing could pop up and just surprise people? Yeah, I do. Let's see. On the 4 hour, we actually do have some pretty good upward expansion here. Now, this could be running into some overhead, and as I mentioned, just to be on the lookout for perhaps a little bit of an effort. We might just have a little bit of a pullback or something like that, and just watch out if it goes too far. But this is looking pretty good on its expansion here during this breakout. On the daily is getting a little bit overheated there. Nothing too major. We are in that just that kind of easy trading middle area, not too overbought or anything like that. Um, the oscillator is putting in a little bit of a curve here, so it could turn around. But overall, the main thrust of this chart is, first of all, the money flow looks pretty good, and then it's to the upside. So sometimes we get these little curls in the chart, and then it just continues. So I'm not going to knock that too much. And it is coming after a pretty bullish signal here. So this could be a pretty reasonable breakout moment. Let me check that one on the 4 hour, just see what we got here. Yeah, we are still freshly turning up. We do have a little bit of a suggestion of a turn down on the slower moving averages here, but the slower oscillators rather. So again, like we could just have a bit of a pullback, but overall, I'm still liking what I'm seeing on this coin. Let's see why. And TradingView always readjusts the size of these things. Yeah, I mean, and we are increasing momentum to the upside, right? So hopefully, we're not really bullishly postured right now, but hopefully within maybe a day or so, we could potentially have some bullishness here. Now, it could be a little bit of a fake out like this one, and there just may be just a whole nother week or two that we have to go through until we get bullish, maybe a week or at least like a few days. It could be that we have one of these kind of like double mountains to defeat, right? But anyway, it looks like we are getting to that point where we could get a little bit of a pop in the charts, which more or less we already have done. As you can see, this mid channel that I had marked out here as the target for this pullback, and then for this pullback, it just did it pulled back a little bit further. This one has resulted, and I believe that's about 10%. Yeah, about 9.5% pump. So already that was just a great trade if you did sell at, $1.80, $1.85, like I was suggesting to, and then trying to buy back at the mid channel. Again, we had that trade twice now, right? Boom, boom, and now we're going on this long. So, congrats, Alpha Fam, if you are trading along with this one. We've been just nailing it. And of course, if this ends up being the bottom, then you pretty much caught the absolute bottom. But I don't think that the market has put in a bottom yet. So just to be aware that, again, like as I mentioned every episode, there is the potential for this this kind of secret buying area down here around perhaps 80 cents. Just if Bitcoin and Ethereum have a pretty hard setback, if the market has a pretty hard setback, it's interesting that this triangle is kind of pointing at November because we could perhaps see a run, right? Maybe even as high as up here, and just kind of crash down in maybe November, Octoberish, and maybe something like this, right? Something like this. And then perhaps just go crazy and building up some type of bullish divergence on the higher time frame, something like that. But I'm not really, I don't really have any targeted goal for KADENA right now. Just I want to just take it level by level, just a little candle top by candle top, just see if we can just take out these little areas at a time. And so again, the target is going to be that kind of $1.88 zone for the time being. until we prove that we can get on top of that area. And if we can get on top of that area, it's very choppy over here. So, again, like the next target would be something like $2, right? Maybe, yeah, I mean, $2 would be pretty reasonable. And then, maybe as much as $2.15. Just take it from there. Let's see. Let me throw those EMAs on again. And yeah, so that's pretty reasonable. Yep, $2. Yep, 215. Yeah, so those are basically the targets that we'd be looking for. That one, let's just call it 185 just to be conservative, and then perhaps a dollar 98, and then perhaps, you know, something like 215 or thereabouts, and see how we deal with this diagonal over here. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up there. So that was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.